All right, time for the week that was with Melanie Wilkinson joining us. Melanie, how's it going?
Oh, it's going really good.
You had a rattlesnake issue.
Do you hear any rattling?
Not you personally, but
Not personally.
But there was a big rattlesnake. No, I don't hear any rattling. That's
thank God.
Yeah.
I went out this morning with the dogs, and I was a little more aware of what I was hearing, just because we're all spooked a little bit. But yeah, we had a rattlesnake came to visit York,
which they're not common out here around.
Thank gosh.
More in the Sandhills area. I know, out western Nebraska, there's quite a few.
Sure.
But apparently one here in York County yesterday, and it kind of had an impact on a business.
Well, it did. There were kids at the business, and the kids were out playing. This is being told to me.
What day was this, by the way?
This would have been Monday evening.
Yeah. Okay.
And one of the parents that I talked to, said, yeah, their kids were out playing, and they went running in, and they said, well, we hear a rattlesnake. And everybody's like, yeah, no, you didn't hear a rattlesnake. But we did. We think we heard a rattlesnake. So finally, upon insisting, somebody went outside, another parent, or I think one of the parents, and yeah, it was the sound of a rattlesnake, went to inspect, saw it, called the police because...
There's a photo of it and everything.
Oh,
too.
yeah. There's a photo to prove it. It's absolutely, they identified it. It's as a timber, what was it? A timber rattler.
Oh, yeah. Let me pull it up.
I believe is what they called it. So. And am I wrong in understanding that rattlesnakes don't rattle unless they're upset? Correct?
Sounds right. Yeah. When you get close to it,
that's kind of, that's spooky. That it was already rattling, so it was
ready to strike if you get close to it. Yeah.
Now I've talked to a lot of people I had a lady tell me this morning that she didn't want to take her garbage out. Now, granted, it's just one. Mm-hmm. It probably, they're guessing it came off of maybe a vehicle.
Yeah.
That was traveling through or something like that. I don't know if it was male or female. I'm pretty sure they looked into that to make sure, because you never know. Mm-hmm. I don't think we're in any threat of infestation of rattlesnakes, but boy, that was a different little surprise.
So they took it somewhere? Is it with an animal clinic around here, and then will they release it, or what's the plan for it?
Dead.
Oh, it's dead. Okay.
It's
perfect.
It's not. It's the rattling has stopped. It's deceased.
Okay.
No one around here was trained to wrangle a rattler.
No.
And they, no one around here is well versed in how that would be taken. And they just decided the risk was great enough that, let's just take care of the situation. Okay.
That's fine. So, I don't think anybody's heartbroken over that, but maybe there's some people out there go, you could just put the poor animal out to the country or something. No,
he made his little trip from wherever to York, and that was his last destination. But there's no threat to the public in this situation. So
nobody was hurt. Nobody.
It was just it kind of reminded me of years ago. There was all these reports of a mountain lion in York, on the daily. Hundreds of people saw it, and but nobody would ever. Game and Parks would never confirm it. And then one morning, the sheriff, who was Dale Radcliffe at the time, who lived in York, walked outside, and it was in his front yard. Well, and he saw it, and now it was confirmed.
Yeah.
And Dale would just laugh like, I don't know why it took me to see it to confirm that it's real. And he said, but I guess I'm an authority of some sort. So then it became confirmed, but then that one moved on its own, and we haven't heard anything again.
I wonder what's more rare out here. Would it be a mountain lion popping up or a rattlesnake popping up somewhere?
Probably a rattlesnake, I would guess, because the mountain lions, I know at that time too,
they'll travel far. They
do.
They come kind of from the Wyoming, Black Hills, South Dakota area. I don't know.
Sure.
And then maybe just try to work their way through the rivers and stuff like that.
And they can do a lot of miles. And I know that at that time, people that lived around McCool in the Blue River area and stuff like that, they could hear babies too. So
that's cute though.
Well, that's cute until they get big. A little baby mountain lion won't hurt anything. But yeah, so I don't know. But yeah, this situation I think was just hitched a ride. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There you go. Well, Melanie in with us here. Let's get into some more topics. The weekend was pretty busy. A lot of cars in town with the Rod and Customs Association tour. Check that out a little bit. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
It was
over the
really,
weekend. What were your
neat.
thoughts from it?
It was really neat. And to see the parade, I guess is what you would call it. It was early in the morning when they would leave, but a lot of people were just parked along the highway and in different places because they wanted to watch. And it was also neat to watch online as they would arrive in all these different small towns, and all the small towns came out to greet them and that type of thing too. So it was really neat. We were so fortunate to have it here. So yeah, a lot of people got a lot of, if you were into that, as a lot of eye candy because they were beautiful.
Absolutely. By the way, Wessels has one coming up this weekend.
Yes,
too.
they do.
They have their car show, and then I think York's has their annual car show. I believe 10 days from now. I guess it'd be the following Saturday.
Yes.
Next Saturday, the York Area Cruisers. So a lot of car show for you enthusiasts out there coming up. I want to also talk to you, Melanie, about of course there's been recent town halls going on, and that's been happening. And I think Henderson, York's hosted a few, McCool Junction, and it sounds like there's some questions being asked to the people who attend this.
Yeah, these meetings are really, they're a round table discussion format. So it encourages people to talk to each other and share their ideas. And then at the end of each town hall, and they only last about an hour, so it's not a huge time commitment for people. But then at the end, each table announces this is what their answers were, and then all the answers will be taken by the consultants, and they will be included in the survey comments as well. So, the three that have been held were in Henderson, Stone Creek, and McCool, and then at the Senior Center in York. The attendance has been not overwhelming, but that said, the comments have been pretty interesting. I mean, there's been about 20 people at each so far, but we still have more yet to come.
Yep.
I was
June 6th, by the way. Friday's the next one in Gresham, and then they have one in Waco on the 10th. Benedict hosts one on the 11th, and then back here in York at the Cornerstone Event Center, their final one's scheduled on June 16th.
Right,
so,
and what's really been there's been a theme. Now it is interesting. Each of the communities has had a different set of perspectives, which would make sense. And that's why they're having them all over the county. But regardless of the location, this affordable housing topic keeps coming up. There's been, and of course tied to that is daycare availability. But this whole housing thing seems to be at the heart of all the challenges because we can't grow population without having them have a place to live. You can't get more employees for new or expanding businesses because there's nowhere for them to live. And then there's the whole issue too of people have to be able to afford it. Not everyone can afford to build a brand new house in today's economy. So that has been at the forefront. In Henderson and McCool, zoning has come up, as I assumed that it would. Yep. And there was last night in McCool, there was an interesting comment about how they would like to see, I don't know what they're looking for exactly, clarity on zoning regulations. Somebody said, we don't know what's allowed and we don't know what isn't. But these are very constructive comments that the county commissioners will take into, they will take to heart and look at as they form this. So that's the whole point. They want to hear what people, think. But housing has been number one of all things. Now, what people like about York County, they love everybody is happy about the location, and people are very appreciative of their parks and their the offerings, the variety of businesses that we have.
I see one you have in here, one participant, I think from Henderson, added good work ethic with people here, low crime, philanthropy, agriculture focused, those kind of things, right?
And one other comment that was fun last night is what's great about York County. Somebody said, I love that it's square.
Yeah.
I thought, oh, yeah, it's square. There's a road every mile.
Yep.
And so everybody kind of started to laugh about that. Well, it is true. There's a road every mile.
Yep.
So, I thought I hadn't thought of it that way before, but
if you pulled back York County and you just looked at it like a grid, it looked like a grid, right?
It is.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
So there you go.
But it's been interesting.
And you got to think, a lot of counties, they're slanted. There's a river running through them, so it's all jagged. We're square and ready to go here in York
What's
County.
What's that called? Hip to be. What's that saying?
Hip to be square. Huey Lewis, right?
So there we are, York County.
Yeah, but so people talking about what they like here, and also I think there was a question too to the folks of what does York County look like in 20 years? That's an interesting question.
Well, I asked the question at the first one. I asked the consultants, I said, is that if money is no object? I mean, they said, oh yeah, dream big. And people, and it was interesting. They want to see growth, but they want to see it to be gradual and not
explosive or anything.
Explosive. Which I understand that, because you can't all of a sudden have all these big things happening if you don't have people to support it. So, I don't know. And I also asked the question too, how, if we want all these big dreams to come true, where do the funds come from? But we have, all of that has to be taken into consideration. So when opportunities come up, then this document will help them regulate how growth takes place.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, these people, the people of the city, they'd really appreciate your inputs out there. So again, June 6th at the Gresham Community Hall, June 10th at the Waco Community Hall, June 11th in Benedict, and then back here in York, June 16th.
And take the survey.
Yes,
the survey link is there if you want to do it online. It only takes about 15 minutes to go through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Also, if for those people who don't like to do things online, there are physical copies they can pick up at the county clerk's office, fill them out, and just return them back to the clerk. Yeah.
There you go. So that's there for those comprehensive plan town halls happening this month. Continuing some things here in York, the skate park, is that done, ready to go out there at Harrison Park?
It's really neat. Yeah. So that, and it's a cool story about how this even came to be. And so Eric Eckert, who I've known for 20 some years, we've worked together for almost 2 decades. Geez, I'm just aging us now. If Eric's listening, sorry, Eric. I know we're getting old. Anyhow, Eric has always been a big skateboarder. And so there was that empty spot over in Harrison Park on the north side. Nothing's really there. And it's sloped and it's kind of odd. And he thought, this would, and there were always complaints about people skateboarding on public, areas and doing damage and doing tricks
whatever.
In front of the courthouse and all this. So he went to the city and asked, hey, could we put in a skate park there? And they said, sure, got to raise the money. So he did. He raised money. He designed it because he's been to skate parks all over the country. And the first phase was done 13 years ago. And then after that one was done, then 6 years later, he asked if they could expand to the east. And again, raised money. Had some help with labor from some companies, but the city crews have been doing all of the cement work along the way. And then this last year, the city gave him $15,000 for cement to do another phase. So now it's almost to the east side of Harrison, near the road. Anyhow, it's all done. It's really neat. I'm not a skateboarder. But last Sunday, a bunch of people from all over Omaha, Schuyler, Fremont, and Lincoln drove here, and these are almost expert skateboarders that came.
There's a community of it in this state. People will travel. They'll visit other skate parks,
and they all know each other.
Oh, yeah.
It's like a unspoken club, and so. One of the members of the Lincoln Skate Park Association was there, and he's so impressed with not only the park and what it has to offer, but also how it was done. He said, most communities would pay a company a lot of money to design a skate park, and Eric just did it on his own, and it was done expertly. But like Eckert said too, he really appreciates the city work crews who have been with him along the whole way. And he said too, like when they're doing it, like putting down the cement and that kind of thing, if there's an idea or something, they can change things on the fly too. It's not like you make a mistake and then you're stuck with it. And so it's been a really neat addition to the York park system.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it sounds like, if Eric wasn't around here doing this wouldn't be done. So great job. Great job,
It wouldn't
Eric.
have happened. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good stuff there. That's at the Harrison Park, the skate park, their new renovation going on. And as you know, we get into the summer months here, June, popular time. I know the swimming pool is, I talked to Carrie earlier and some other folks with the Parks and Rec. It's been like closed. It hasn't been open. It hasn't been open a full day yet because of all the rain.
The rain and the cool weather, but then there's a whole new problem.
Yeah, with the lifeguards.
They need lifeguards really bad. There was a beautiful day that they could have been open, but they couldn't because they just didn't have enough people on staff that were available. And the layout of the aquatic center, it requires it needs more than just two people sitting in a chair. It takes more than that. They need more eyes. So I know Cherie has put out there that even if you're an older person, or even if you've done it before, she'll get you certified. Mm-hmm. Like you can take the certification rather quickly. She'll make it happen. And you don't have to work full time. You can just work a shift on a Saturday if you want to. Or even, I think, just be on call. So, if anybody out there is interested, even remotely, in just maybe a shift or two a week, boy, reach out to her.
They would take it,
because we hate to let that facility sit there empty.
Exactly.
When
and how many kids enjoy that? I mean, and
the attendance is just fantastic. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know exactly how many she needs, but I think it's pretty substantial. Yeah. So,
do you know if anybody out, maybe and I don't know, surrounding towns, would they accept some folks to maybe? And I just think of high schoolers, because high schooler, it's a very popular job to have in high school, being a lifeguard, which is kind of surprising that York can't find those high schoolers
part
yet.
Of it is that even though it's in the summer, there's a lot of kids playing sports and doing things. Yeah. And so I think that, to me, I've already called myself old, so it doesn't matter. But to me, though, I think like kids are involved in a lot more things now than they used to be back in the day, it's even tougher in the summer. And so I think that kind of plays a part in it. So I'm not a swimmer, but if somebody is, she could sure use the help.
Calling all the David Hasselhoffs out there. You can be a lifeguard.
It's not really a Baywatch situation, but you could imagine that in your mind if you'd like.
I suppose,
David Hasselhoff.
Well, they need the help. They need the help.
We
up
don't.
There at the Family Aquatic Center. So good stuff. All right, Melanie. Anything else?
No,
to
I
touch
think
on?
that kind of wraps it up for the week.
Gotcha. Well, you enjoy the week. We'll talk to you next week here.
All right.